Welcome into episode 6 of the Playbook series. This episode is going to be a little bit quicker now that we're moving into some of the concepts. This is going to be the first run installs that we see in 2019 in their training camp. Install number 1 for the runs. We're going to focus on 2. We're going to focus on the 1819 Alert Oscar and 1819 Zorro with X or Z now. We're going to focus on those 2 concepts, and they're both outside zone, but we'll be able to see how exactly they plan on installing this. So the first thing to note is when we look at the concept itself, they give an explanation of what the concept is, what the running back is supposed to do, what the sifter is meant to do if there is a sifter. A sifter is someone who is working from the front side of the formation to the back side, but that is not necessarily evident on any of these diagrams, which we'll take a look at. Then we've got the receivers, what their rules are, what the QB should be doing, and what the O-line and tight end should be doing as well. So just kind of quickly looking at all of these different things, we'll start with the concept, right? You can see how it's written up over on this side. 18, Al Oscar, right? Alert Oscar. So it's just giving, essentially, it's going to be an outside zone. Just 18, Al Oscar is going to be normally outside zone. You're aiming towards the hip of the tight ends, right? But because this is Oscared, meaning it's going to flip, it ends up becoming a 19 Al instead, right? So going off to the left. But if we look at what this concept is meant to do, all right, it's a single back concept, only one running back, designed to attack the perimeter to the strong side. Running back will take an outside course to the outside leg of the tight end, press the landmark, the front side combo blocks for read, one gap at a time, outside in. So the running back is reading, based on what he's seeing, right, outside towards the inside. And then if there's a cutback, he's just going to take that. Okay, so the running back, his toes in under gun, right, under center. He's going to be at 7.5 yards. He's going to lead open a step. He's going to set his track right to the outside leg of the tight end, and he's going to press, just like we saw in the concept. So there's a lot of duplication in the description. The sifter, which we don't see on any of these diagrams, is going to be cutting the backside defender. Right, so for example, if we had a fullback in here, right, maybe we align on the strong side, right, but we're running off to the opposite. This guy could potentially be that sifter, and he would just cut that first defender on the backside of this run, right? And we see that a lot in this Matt LaFleur offense. And we got the receivers, 8 to 9 rules, block DBs only, backside 8 to 9 rules, same case, and you can see how that's drawn up. QB, he's supposed to open to about 4:30 or 7:30, right? Obviously on a clock, you're looking at that angle, either 7:30 or 4:30. So he's going to open up, and this is essentially going to be a handoff, except if it's called toss. And you'll see it's noted here. You got all these options up at the top. We can have a toss, we can have a sift, we can have the Al, we can have an Oscar on all of this for the play calls. But you'll notice that they give you diagrams against the different fronts. All right, so let's just take a look at, one of these examples. We've got deuce right, 18 Al Oscar, right? Generally, that's going to be, alert. So 18 alert Oscar. Here, they Oscar it, so they're flipping it. So Oscar away from unblockable. So if we look here, they don't want this matchup where it's going to be one-on-one with the tight end. So they're saying that's unblockable because here you're going to have to get a block. Here you're going to have to get a block. And then there's no one to account for this defender. Whereas if you flip it, your offensive line is in a better position where now there's no one outside the tackle, so you can combo here and work up to the next defender. Right? So that's why they're flipping it in this situation, is because you have someone lined up outside the tackle, it wouldn't make sense to run towards that way because you're going to get a man here, you're going to get a man here. That safety is just going to fill a gap and make a play. All right, so Oscaring away from the unblockable. And then you also have Oscaring to the bounce read. All right, a bounce read is, hey, we might be able to bounce this outside. All right, so if we look here, we've got a combo. We've got this receiver out here. All right, if we can get a successful combo here and then work up and seal the next level, our running back's going to be one-on-one with a corner. All right, so Oscaring to the bounce read in order to bounce outside. But of course, you've got this, arrow as well. If this end gets outside of that double team, all right, then it's just going to be cut back up through that lane. And hopefully you get a seal here. And that safety is blocked as well. And then we'll move into the last concept that we'll talk about is 18-19 Zorro. Again, this is an outside zone, 8 or 9. Pretty simple. It's going to be outside 8 or 9 gap. And this is just going to be a very similar call, except it's going to be with the fullback. All right, so you get the fullback and the Y. They're double teaming the end man on the line of scrimmage, the emol, right? So end man on the line of scrimmage, you're going to get a double team there, and that's going to be working outside. So if you guys can get a double, and then you work up to the next guy, in theory, that's how they're wanting to make that happen. Right, so there's really not much difference outside of the personnel. Right, this is mainly going to be 21 personnel. You need that fullback, you need a tight end in order to make that double happen, but it is still outside zone. And then you'll be able to see, some of the differences that they add on. Looking at this whole play call, right? Strong right, hop, Z right, 18-0, X now. All right, so they're talking about the strong right is the formation, right? Hop is going to be the alignment here. Z right is now going to be motioning over, right? He's going to block that corner that travels with him. 18-0 is the handoff. And then you have X now, which is this little slant. All right, so you can see how intricate these play calls can be. But these diagrams as well are very nice because it says, hey, we're going to be doubling here on a B block. It's backside. All right, backside is going to be a B block between the guard and the tackle. And then between the guard and the tackle on the front side, it's called a double in this offense. So they're going to double here and work up to Mike. So you can see, depending on the front, all these offensive linemen, all the players have to know what their responsibilities are, no matter what front they're presented. Obviously, the coaches, they do preparation to make sure they can give them the fronts that they'll most likely see on game day. But that's going to do it for this episode. Just looking at 2 run concepts this week. Obviously, I'll have another episode next week. But of course, it's the holiday season, so I will be traveling this weekend. So I will not be able to get the Bears breakdown on Sunday. Normally I get it one day after the game, but I will have to stick to the normal schedule as if it's a Sunday game. So the videos will come out Monday and Tuesday. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.